Hello, Mustang basketball fans, and Happy New Year. Welcome to another edition of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. I'm your host, Kelly Loft, Athletic Communications Director at SMSU, and we're going to talk Mustang basketball. The Mustangs closing out the calendar year with a couple of nice victories at the RA facility. Get back at conference play here to start the new year on January 3rd and 4th versus Northern State and MSU Moorhead. And joining us is the head coach, Brad Bigler, and lots to talk about in the last couple of weeks. The Mustangs, a couple of nice wins to end the break before Christmas, and getting one of those a conference victory. Mustangs beat Wisconsin La Crosse 83-57 in a non-conference game, and then beat Sioux Falls 63-51 to close out the first half of the season, at least part of the first half of the season. Mustangs are now 7-5 overall, 4-2 in the conference. And Coach, we'll talk about this weekend's games shortly. But going back to those two games, La Crosse, a team that came in at 7-1, a very good Division III program, and then Sioux Falls, a team that beat you in the conference opener in late November. So great to get a couple of nice wins and feeling good going into Christmas.
And it was that La Crosse game was a little scary. They shot 49% from the field, 47% from three coming into the game. So we knew we were going to have our challenges ahead. But I thought our guys really defended well. They got out and ran La Crosse off the three-point line, I'd like to say. And then from the offensive side of things, we were very unselfish.
Yeah, Mustangs in the first half shoot 68%, 19 of 28, and the Eagles also shot very well at 52%, but in that second half, limiting them to 30% shooting, and the Mustangs shoot at 56%, and really win going away, and that's good to see that defensive execution in the second half, because teams have had some success at times shooting from long range, but the Mustangs able to lock down La Crosse in that second half.
Going back, looking at that second half too, our ability to turn defensive stops into offense was a key factor, and just our ability to score in transition, get out, run. We were trying to make it a high possession game, so off our makes we were pressing and just trying to make them run up and down with our athleticism, and I think throughout the second half we wore them down and were able to go on some big runs.
Well, a new player that appeared for the Mustangs first time this season was Travis Minders, a junior from Worthington, Minnesota. He had 9 points, 4 of 5 shooting. He played a couple of seasons at Minnesota State and Mankato, transferred last December, so he had to sit out a calendar year, a couple of semesters, and good to have him in the lineup. For a few weeks there, we were playing with about 8-9 guys, with Cole Martin out with an injury, Travis not eligible yet to play, David Condon out with an injury, and just adds depth to have Travis and then eventually Cole back into the lineup.
And with Travis, you saw a guy who, it was nice. He could come in and he can handle the ball a little bit. He can defend on the perimeter a little bit. He was a little bit nervous coming into the game, I think, not having played for a year and a half. Yep. So he came in, and Drew actually got him a couple layups, and I think he found his rhythm early in the game.
And the Mustangs 83-57, that win over Wisconsin at La Crosse. We'll see the highlights here shortly. But then the Mustangs 2 days later got back into conference play, an important game, Coach, got to defend their home court, and did that against USF. SMSU, a very good defensive effort again in this contest, limiting the Cougars at 34% shooting, just 29% in the first half. And you built a 12-point lead, had a double-digit lead for much of that second half. The Cougars did fight back into it, kind of got sloppy at times, but overall a very good performance by the Mustangs to really take it to USF.
And throughout the week, just in preparation for USF, La Crosse was a perfect team to play, just for the fact that how you have to defend the three-point line. You have to do the same thing with USF. They have some guys that can really shoot the basketball. They have a lot of screening action away from the ball as well. And it was important for us to just be able to control our assignments, get out there, chase them on some of the screens away from the basketball, and really just make them score at the rim. And I thought our guys throughout the night were pretty good at that.
Yeah, and USF entered the game averaging about 80 points a game, shooting at a high percentage, and limit them to their worst shooting game of the season and their lowest output. And that's very key. And Mustangs scoring just 63 points, but a balanced attack again, as we see, in 14 points for Sean Condon off the bench, 10 for Joey Bartlett and Matt Zager, and then 8 points for several different players. And despite the fact Nick Smith and Will Giddings, your top 2 scorers, didn't even get double digits, still great to see you get a win and do it on both ends of the floor, as we talked about.
Well, going into that game, I mean, a lot of times, sometimes the points scored can be misleading. There was a lot of longer possessions in that game. Both teams are really drawing out the possessions. In the second half, from a defensive perspective, we went to a zone a little bit and really extended the game and or extended their shot clock and really just made the game go by quicker in the second half.
So the Mustangs get the win over USF 63-51. Mustangs again close up that first part of the season with a 7-5 record, 4-2 in the conference. We should just let you know later on in the show we've got a special guest, Chad Welk, assistant men's basketball coach, will be joining us. Brad, I really can't handle a half-hour show anymore.
Yeah, trying to improve the ratings.
Yes.
We're trying to get the ratings up. We're a little desperate, so we got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, we want to start off the new year, and we'll have Chad here shortly. But we're going to take a look at some of the highlights from last weekend's games. First, actually back on December 19th, and was Wisconsin lacrosse as the Mustangs hosted the Eagles at the RA facility. And Coach, we mentioned Mustangs shoot 68% in the first half, and leading the way, Nick Smith there with that nice hook, and then Matt Zager here with a couple of plays on both ends of the floor.
As you see Bernard here, just his patience waiting for Nick to come down, comes back. Nick with the 15-footer. He's been putting a lot of extra time in with Coach Welk, and you see the dividends right there, just where he's able to step out and knock down that 15-footer with confidence.
The Mustangs force a turnover on UWL. Matt Zager with the jumper. Zager had 9 points, 5 assists, 2 steals.
A little bit longer of a possession right here, but good patience. You're going to see here Mitch Wegg coming in and getting this offensive rebound, put back, and that's where Mitch has just made us such a better basketball team this year.
Mustangs had 5 3-pointers in the game. Will Giddings drilling that one. Will, second all-time in 3-point field goal percentage in school history. Nick Smith from the elbow from 15 feet drills that, and then a couple of nice plays here by Travis Minders, first baskets of the season.
And Drew Osmondson setting him up with a layup right there. You see our little press here, and we're able to, sometimes when you give a press, they're just going to hand you the basketball, and that's what lacrosse did here. As we come back down the floor, you're going to see Sean Connon finding Travis Minders with another back cut.
Again, Minders 9 points on 4 of 5 from the field. You see lacrosse just kind of all out of sorts here on these couple possessions. Bartlett the block.
And coming back down, you find Drew Osmondson. That's the thing about Drew in the game. He makes the easy play where he's setting up teammates, getting other guys open shots, and even layups.
Nick Smith with a game-high 21 points in the victory. There's Zager with the layup.
Bernard Birch with a nice finish.
Bernard 8 points, 5 assists in 25 minutes, just a couple of turnovers. Again, he's moving up the assist list in school history as Bernard, third all-time, and keeps the pace. He'll be surpassing Andrew Pichon for that record. Of course, a couple of weeks ago, passed one of the Mustang greats, Brad Bigler, for assists.
Yeah. No, it's nice to see Bernard. And with our offense, he's going to have some big assist games this year. I feel like he's going to get a couple of 10 assist games. I really do. He's really seeing the floor well. He's creating easy opportunities for teammates, and guys are knocking down shots.
You see Drew Osmondson creating the turnover, gets the credit for the steal. Mustangs on the offensive end take advantage. Will Giddings drills the 3 off the assist from Osmondson. And here's an end out for the Mustangs. Zager finds a cutting Will Giddings, beautifully executed.
Again, defensively, you're going to see here guys just filling lanes. Will Giddings making a play on that basketball. As we come down here in transition, you're going to find Mitch Wade gets a layup from Matt Zager. Good unselfish basketball.
SMSU 19 assists. That's a season high. And when you shoot that high of a percentage with that many assists, things are going well, and the Mustangs are doing that. Here's another block by
Drew Osmondson.
And in transition, Mustangs drawing the foul. Hard play, but Mustangs able to take advantage of it.
This is just a great rotation by our guards. You're going to see them kick the basketball out here. They're going to try to go back. And, again, Sean Condon getting that passing lane and making the play.
And then Condon hits the 3 here from the left corner.
And so Nick's going to kick it back out. And they're going to double up on Nick. And
wanted to shoot from the corner, but the patience got it at the top of the key and drills it.
It's all right. You're a hockey coach.
Yeah, that's right. There's Bernard Birch driving, and just to see that throughout his 3.5 years here, just making those plays, attacking the rim. There's a nice play by Will Giddings making the decision to pass it off. Now into the second half, Mustangs had a 13-point lead at halftime. They add to it, and again limit lacrosse to just 30% shooting, and the Mustangs shoot at 56%.
Good ball movement. Nick, again, there's going to be certain games where Nick's going to see the ball a lot, where they're not going to double, and he's going to have an advantage. And this was definitely one of those games, and Nick took advantage of it.
Good Birch, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Mustangs had just 11 turnovers, and quite a few of those just late in the second half. Did a nice job of hanging on to the basketball. And here's a good decision, backing out Bernard and finding Joey Bartlett.
And try it once, let's try it a second time, and Joey catches it and knocks down the 3.
Bartlett's only 3 of the night, his only field goal, had just the 3 points. Nick Smith with his layup, and Nick closing in on 1,000 points, trying to become the 18th player in program history to reach that mark, and knock on wood, he can do it this weekend at home. Just 18 points away. Matt Zager, with his only 3-point attempt of the night, he drills that, and then there's the steal, one of the top statistical leaders in the conference in steals, and also in the top 50 in the country in steals. Again, he had 2 in this game. Makes it pretty easy when you get some great passes like that from Bernard to Nick Smith. Couldn't finish it, but the second time he does put it away.
And Travis Miners with a nice drive and finish.
And the Mustangs will close it out here. Again, they outscore lacrosse 36-23 in the second half, pulling away, led by as many as 26 points there, right at the last couple of minutes. Lacrosse, not a bad team against 7-1 going into the game. And the Mustangs, they'll get the win 83-57 to move over the 500 mark overall. But again, as we mentioned, just 2 days later, had to center your attention to the University of Sioux Falls. Kind of unusual to play a team twice in less than a month, and now we're done with them for the rest of the season. But that's just kind of the way the conference schedule worked out with your travel partner. And you look at it, Coach, before we look at the highlights, just you look at our first 12 games, a very difficult schedule. Playing Sioux Falls twice in conference play, going to Winona, going to Upper Iowa, playing Augie and Wayne State, and then the non-conference portion, very difficult. Just kind of give your assessment. It's not the halfway point of the season, but kind of that measuring stick here, and maybe the first third of the season. Your thoughts so far?
Yeah, those first, I really look at the first third, those first 10 games. I think after that first 10 games, and I think you said it, we were ranked top 10, top 15 in the nation with strength of schedule. And yeah, we may, in some eyes, start off a little bit slow, but I think you almost need to give credit to the schedule that we played. There was a lot of good teams. We went on the road to South Dakota State, went on the road up to Michigan and played 2 very good teams. So I thought anytime you're doing that, you're trying to prepare yourself for the grind season, and I think that grind season is coming up. As we get out of Christmas here, we're going to be on the road a little bit more, and we have to find a way to kind of put together some games on the road. And but that first 10 games, very difficult schedule, but I thought our guys responded well, and usually facing adversity early in the season can be a very good thing if you handle it the right way. And you continue to learn, you continue to stay humble, and I thought our guys did that.
Well, again, started back in conference play on that Saturday, December the 21st. Mustangs a 63-51 victory over the University of Sioux Falls. Let's take a look at the highlights from the RA facility as the Mustangs look for some revenge over that loss earlier this season against Sioux Falls. And let's take a look at the highlights here in our smaller screen, but still the highlights still great to look at. There's a 3 right off the bat from Joey Bartlett. Struggled 2 days earlier, but this game had 10 points, 5 rebounds, a couple of threes.
Matt Zager with a nice drive and finish. Early in the game, it was nice to see us kind of get up. We're very unselfish. You see here 2 guys driving, kicking. Matt Zager with the open 3.
Yeah, Mustangs 8-0 to start the game, the first 90 seconds, forcing Chris Johnson to call a timeout in USF. Mustangs never trailed in the game, building a 12-point lead at halftime.
This was a game that was kind of a grinded-out game. Both teams know each other well. I thought we defended each other well. Second time in only a couple weeks playing. Again, longer possessions, and just we were, unfortunately, to be the more efficient team on the night.
Mustangs, again, balanced attack. 10 points for Bartlett and Zager off the bench. Sean Condon with a game-high 14 points. Not one player from USF scored in double figures because of that Mustang defense. And not a lot of possessions in the contest, but Mustangs, again, held a rebound advantage, too, 32-28. It's been kind of the norm here this season, especially as of late. Here's Mitch Wegg with the basket. Kind of a ball tipping around all over the place, went right to Mitch. And tough play here by Drew Osmondson, and the redshirt freshman gets that layup to go.
Again, good patience. As we enter the second half of the season, it's our defensive side of the ball is really been our emphasis here coming out of break, and just being able to defend that three-point line and compete on the basketball a little bit better.
Nice play by Zager, dropping that assist to Nick Smith. Matt Zager hammers home the three, 2 for 2 from long range during the game. And here's Will Giddings creating an opportunity to get fouled. One low spot of the game was the free throw shooting for the Mustangs. Could have been really a blowout, even more so, but Mustangs just 8 of 16. And it was really a collective team effort missing those free throws.
Yeah, there was a lot of guys missing. And that's a lot of times with free throws, that's guys getting in and getting their shots up on their own, just building that confidence.
Bartlett from the left wing drills the three. Nice pass by Condon. And then Sean this time takes it on his own. Tough shot. Got it to go in the paint.
Good spin and finish. You can see an alley-oop dunk here. Will Giddings taking over Lavion West's spot on that alley-oop play.
Great job to catch that low pass. That is athletic play by Will, and then hammers it down. Smith with the basket. Now we go reverse layup for Matt Zager.
And I think Bernard Birch deserves a lot of credit on that play. We talked about that in a timeout, and that was a shot clock situation. He came down and made the call and read the defense and made the play.
Mustangs just grinding out this victory. Got somewhat tight in the last couple of minutes, but Mustangs able to hold it off. Here's late in the shot clock, 1 second to go. Mustangs had to get it off quickly, and a great job by Bernard to tip that out and then draw a foul.
And Sean, that's what happens. Teams lock up late in the shot clock, end of games, and was able to get the layup. You see here Will Giddings getting a layup from Bernard Birch as we finish out the highlights.
So again, the Mustangs get the victory 63-51 over the Cougars of USF. This weekend, January 3rd and 4th, the Mustangs host two teams from the NSIC North. First time this season that the conference cross-division play. And they're very good teams, Coach. Northern State and Moorhead, both just one loss in the conference against each other. They're the top teams in that conference or in that division right now. And some important games coming up here this week for the Mustangs.
And it's funny you say conference because it almost feels like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't see them but one time a year, and it's so late in the season. It's later in the season. And but yeah, both Northern and Moorhead coming in this weekend. Talented teams, different in some aspects, but both well coached and defend and have the ability to put up some points.
Let's talk about getting ready for this week's games because we've had a break. The NCAA has a mandated time that you have off, and so it's basically about 2 weeks off between games. Talk about the challenges it is for you and your staff to get these guys ready since they came back here a few days after Christmas.
When you look at that break, 8 days is, well, it's 7 days, but I think everyone pretty much gave their team 8 days off.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time, and then not only that, to come back and you have 4 days to prepare them, it is definitely a challenge. And I don't know if there's the perfect way of doing it. We kind of split up our practices, go a little bit shorter of time, and try to just be very efficient with our time. But it's tough because a lot of times coming out of break, you need that player. It's hard to have a system and to really get that system going again at the highest level. So you really need a player coming out of break to kind of step up and carry you a little bit for that first weekend. And hopefully we can get a couple guys to do that.
Well, of course, there's a lot of individuals that can help prepare the team, get ready for the games throughout the season, and one of those individuals will be on here just seconds away. We'll talk to Coach Chad Welk here. And welcome back that quickly, out of nowhere. We have a special guest with us, Chad Welk, Mustang men's basketball assistant coach, joins Coach Bigler and myself here on the show. And each year we try to get some guests on throughout the year, some players and coaches on staff, the guys that help make this program go. And Chad, welcome, and great to have you on staff. You've got a very experience in the conference, obviously, from the NSIC perspective. You played at this level, Division II, in the NSIC, sort of, with North Central Conference at the time at Augustana, but played and coached at Concordia St. Paul, and now here in your first year at Southwest. But welcome aboard, and I'm sure it's just great to be part of the Southwest and Mustang family program.
Absolutely. It's been great coming back to Marshall. I've spent one of the best years of my life here early on, my freshman year of college, so it's kind of good to come back,
Yeah, let's talk about
familiar faces.
Exactly. Let's talk about that. Chad, as you mentioned, played your freshman year in college back in 1996, 97.
Yeah,
basketball.
old.
See, you're an old guy.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But played a season for Southwest, then transferred to Augustana and played 3 seasons there. Had a very nice career for the Vikings, and then got into coaching. What made you get into the coaching aspect? Was it just playing college basketball, and was that what you always wanted to do? Was coach at this level?
To be honest, no. As soon as I was done playing, I kind of wanted to get away from it a little bit. So I took a couple years off, went back, and started kind of trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. I started graduate school when we moved back up to the city, and ended up getting on with Concordia and just fell back in love with the game, fell in love with the process, of college athletics, of just, watching teams come together, watching teams get better, watching individuals, progress, and just fell back in love, kind of reignited that fire a little bit for me.
Let's talk about that. Coach Bigler, you and Chad go back a long ways. I mean, back in those mid-'90s, back in the dark ages of basketball and whatnot. But you've got a history with Chad. You're both from Iowa and a long way from Marshall, and it's just funny how all things work out here and how you got to know each other.
It really is. I think back in mid-'90s, we were on the same primetime team in Iowa City. It's a summer league that is hosted by the Hawkeyes, and there's a lot of different college athletes that play on it. The reason, I guess, I can't speak for him, but for me, each team had to have 2 high school players on it back then. And I think the first year, we were both the first 2 high school players on that team. And so you know what that means. We got to hang out on the bench quite a bit.
Yeah, that's right.
We didn't play.
You look good on
We got
the
the
bench.
jersey, though.
Yeah,
we
that's
did
right.
get the jersey.
Yeah.
That was key. But then from there, we actually bumped into each other a couple times in section tournaments. I think he knocked us out of the tournament one year, and then actually when I came up on a visit here at Southwest, he was my host. And so yeah, we've crossed paths quite a few times, and as he then became a recruiter or an assistant coach for Concordia St. Paul, we took a lot of those long trips together, and it's just kind of one of those things where it was an opportunity to work together, and it was the right fit.
Well, Chad was hired late this summer after Brooks McCowan, the assistant coach for the Mustangs, went to become the head coach at Upper Iowa. And Brad, maybe you can talk about we know the connections, but what were you looking for in an assistant, and why did it work out to have Chad? Obviously knows the conference, being at Concordia St. Paul, but seems to be a great fit, and it's worked out so far.
Well, the first thing we need to do is during the games, we needed someone to have spice it up on the bench with the dress code.
Okay.
So we needed some more color. We needed some more flash. We were kind of boring, so we took care of that. But outside of that, then you go basketball side of things.
I guess you're a flashy dresser. Yeah, you look good.
Yeah.
No, I think what he brings is he brings a guy who can work with our post, someone who's experienced. I've been doing it the last few years, and sometimes it's nice to have a change of pace. And for me to be able to move over the guards a little bit, have Chad work with Nick Smith and Mitch Wegg, and soon to be our incoming class big guys as well, was important. It's just a little bit different hearing from him than it is from a 6-foot point guard. Mm-hmm. And I think he just has a very good understanding and a very good feel for the game.
Well, Chad, talk about you playing here at Southwest for a year and then going to Augustana, very passionate fan bases at both those places. And Concordia obviously has good fans as well, but a little bit different when you have a smaller community like this. And I think once we get into the second semester and the crowds will be getting bigger and just that sense of community. It's got to be nice to come here to Southwest and know how much people are passionate about Mustang basketball and looking forward to getting to the heart of conference basketball.
Right. I think the following that in the fan base that Marshall and the community gives has been amazing. That's been one of the major changes for me coming from St. Paul being such a larger community. I was telling Brad, right when I took the job. We were down, like one of my first days in Marshall. I was at the SA, and I had two, folks that were fans come up and welcome me to the city. And, it's funny, I worked at Concordia St. Paul for 8 years. Was going to that SA that's right across the street from the Gangelhoff Center, and nobody knew my name at that time. In town for 5 minutes, and all of a sudden, people are coming up and congratulating and talking.
Well, so far, Coach, talk about what are some of the things that Coach mentioned about coaching the post, but your recruiting background. You've got a lot of connections in not only Minnesota and Wisconsin and Iowa, but some of those things that you can bring to the table for this team here this season and for the future.
Well, I'll have you know that none of the guys that have committed. We had 5 commits coming in, coming as of in the early signing period, and none of those guys had committed until I took the job.
Well, there you go.
So I'm just going to go out on a limb.
I was thinking you were going to go with, I can't take credit for it,
no,
but now you're going the other way.
The opposite
okay,
direction.
I like that.
I flipped it.
Yep.
This is presence.
Right.
Yeah, it's presence.
Right. No, all that was taken care of, obviously. I had literally nothing to do with any of those guys coming in. But it's, going back to being able to recruit a lot of the similar guys, we're going to be able to pull from Iowa, Wisconsin, some of those guys some of those areas that we're used to and accustomed to. But at the same time, there's a lot of outstate in some different regions that we're kind of looking to hit a little bit more now that we'll have that ability to do, and that'll be good.
That's one thing, Coach, you've had to deal with over the last couple of years is, you're always going to have graduate assistants, new guys coming in, and it's a balancing act. This is your third full-time assistant since you've been the head coach now, and there's things you got to always look at as a head coach to see what fits your style and what fits the program. And I think you've done that obviously throughout your career, but that is a challenge, and even finding graduate assistants.
It is. I think having continuity in your staff is a very important element to success. But at the same time, in our situation, we're going to have a lot of new assistants, and so you have to develop a program. And I think what it does is it really it forces you to be a better head coach. Early on in the year, a lot of times we have to have meetings on just organization and try to kind of, I guess from the head coaching perspective, is you have to manage people early on. And I think from my standpoint, it's also nice to have Coach Welk, who he's been doing this as long as me, and a guy that has very good understanding. So it took a lot of pressure off me early on, and allowed him to just kind of give him some tasks and let him go with it.
And Chad, we look now to start the month of January, the new year, and a big challenge this weekend with Northern State and MSU Moorhead. But this conference is going to be very difficult to maneuver here the next couple of weeks. But I think you've seen so far we've got some talent here, and it should be a fun next couple of months.
Absolutely. I mean, going into this next January and February, it's going to be. I mean, every weekend you got to come, you got to strap it on, and be ready to go. This league is not tough. There's no nights off. I mean, that goes without saying, all the cliches. Yeah. But I mean, I think that what we've done and what we put in the system-wise and defensively, and just the work ethic and understanding and accountability within our system with our guys, we're going to be in every game. We're going to be able to compete every night, and it's going to be fun. It'll be fun. Every game will be fun, and it'll be a good experience going through.
Yep, and it starts up this weekend, January 3rd and 4th. The Mustangs hosting Northern State on Friday night, 8 o'clock is the tip-off, and on Saturday, MSU Moorhead coming to town for a 7 o'clock tip-off. The Dragons and the Wolves combining with just 3 losses throughout this season. Should be a great couple of games at the RA facility, and we hope you bring in the new year coming out to the RA facility to check out the Mustangs. Chad Welk, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Coach Bigler, thank you as always, and a thank you for watching this week here at SMSUMustangs.com and at Studio One, Marshall Local Cable Access. Have a great new year. We'll see you at the RA facility this weekend, January 3rd and 4th. Mustangs taking on Northern State and MSU Moorhead. Until next time, go Mustangs.